Good morning, grandkids. I thought I'd stand out here on my porch this morning with an ego while I read you a story. It is a beautiful day out, so we decided to be out here. I hope you'll enjoy. My story today is about Olaf and the dragon. Is written by Antonato Leotelli. That sounds like an Italian name. One of the more colorful legends in Nord folklore is the tale of Olaf, One Eye, and Numenex. Numenex is the dragon. Long ago in the First Age, a fearsome dragon named Numenex ravaged the whole of Skyrim. The dreadful drake wiped out entire villages, burned cities, and killed countless Nords. It seemed that no power in Tamriel could stop the monster. This was a troubled time in Skyrim's history, for a bitter war of succession raged between the holds. The Jarls might have been able to conquer the beast if they had worked together, but trust was in desperately short supply. A skillful warrior named Olaf came forward and promised to defeat the beast. I almost said something else. In some accounts, he is the Jarl of Whiterun. In other versions of the legend, Olaf promises the people of Whiterun that he will capture the monster if they will name him the Jarl. At any rate, Olaf ventures forth with a handful of his most trusted warriors and seeks the beast out, eventually finding Numenex in his lair atop Mount Anthor. Needless to say, it's an epic battle. First, Olaf comes at the dragon with his axe and his shield. Some variants of the legend say that Olaf and the beast battled with blade and claw for days, but were too evenly matched for either to gain an advantage. Most accounts hold that Olaf, perhaps frustrated that his weapons are completely ineffectual against the dragon, finally casts them aside. Giving voice to the rage that has been building within him, Olaf unleashes a terrible shout. Here again, the stories diverge. Many accounts hold that Olaf did not realize he possessed the power of dragon speech, while others suggest that he had long possessed this gift, but wished to test himself against the dragon in martial combat first. Virtually all variations of the legend, however, agree on what happened next. Using the awesome powers of the dragon language, Numenex and Olaf engaged in an epic shouting duel atop Mount Anthor. Can you just picture this warrior and this dragon using these dragon shouts back and forth on each other? So forceful are their words, they are said to shatter the stone and split the sky. Finally, Numenex collapses from a combination of injury and sheer exhaustion. Somehow, and this detail is conspicuously absent in virtually every account, Olaf manages to convey the dragon all the way back to the capital city of Whiterun. The people of Whiterun are suitably impressed with Olaf's hostage. They build a huge stone holding cell at the rear of the palace, which they renamed Dragon Reach. This enormous cell serves as Numenex's prison until his death. And when we're there and call the dragon in so that he will take us somewhere, that's not where he's held in prison till he dies. Olaf himself eventually becomes the High King of Skyrim, putting an end to the War of Succession. Presumably his great deed made him the only leader upon whom all the people could agree, and so the land, once again, has peace. Whoops. As a visitor to Skyrim, I find this tale both fascinating and highly entertaining. It is one of the most celebrated legends of the Nords, and one can easily understand why. It's a story of surpassing heroism in which a resourceful and worthy Nord does battle with a truly terrifying adversary and emerges victorious by yelling him into submission. The only way in which this could have been even more of a Nordic tale would be if Olaf beat Numinex in a drinking contest. The legend is not without its doubters, however. The bard Svaknir or just Vaknir, I will call him Vaknir, who lived during Olaf's reign, wrote and performed an alliterative verse that challenged Olaf's version of events. Enraged, the High King threw the rebellious bard in prison and destroyed all written copies of the verse. How I would love to lay hands on a copy of that verse. I admit I'm immensely curious to know what assertions Vaknir made about how Olaf really defeated Numinex. There are a few ancient bard texts that provide one possible answer. These tomes suggest that Numinex was particularly foul-tempered because he was extremely old. In these accounts, the dragon spends his final years terrorizing the countryside before flying off to the top of Mount Anthor to die in peace. When Olaf finds Numinex, the dragon is too weak to defend himself. Olaf and his men capture the beast without effort, but decide to take advantage of the situation by fabricating a heroic tale. It is worth noting that all of Olaf's warriors who were said to witness the shout duel went on to become wealthy leaders during Olaf's reign as High King, so they were paid off to verify his story. However, it is equally likely that Vaknar, the bard, had some grudge against Olaf, and his scandalous verse was an attempt to damage the High King's reputation. Alas, we will never know. I leave you now, good reader, with this gentle reminder. A good historian must remain impartial and consider all points of view. Time has a way of distorting our record of events, so the closer you can get to the original source, the better. So remember that. Don't believe every rumor that you hear, because it may be quite different from what it originally started out to be. And this reminds me of a game that I used to play when I was a kid. All the kids played it then. I don't know if they do now or not, or if they've ever even heard. Well, I think they've heard of it. I've heard it mentioned. I don't remember if it's called telephone or what, but in school, like at recess, we would all sit around in a circle, and one person would start a story. They would just say something, and then whisper it in someone else's ear, and they'd whisper it in someone else's ear till it got all the way back around. And by the time it got to the person who originally whispered in the first person's ear, the story was totally different. And that's how rumors, false rumors, get started. So be wary. Always try and check the facts and where something came from. Bye-bye, grandkids. Let me see here. We will see you the next time, and I'm going to be talking to you in an upcoming vlog about my channel and the changes going on in it. And one of the changes is going to be phasing out this series by the end of the month. It's really hard for me to find books to read, because I don't play with this character. If I, in between recordings of this, have to take her out and scour the countryside and do cave crawlings and to find books and go in people's houses and steal books and get caught and get in trouble, or go and buy books and then they're not anything I like and I'll waste my money. that takes up way, way too much of my time that I should be playing and recording my regular series or doing housework or sewing or anything else of a million things I need to do. So I can't play with her in between these recordings. So I'm just literally running out of books. Although there's lots of them I'd love to be able to read, but I can't get her hands on them. Not my hands, her hands. So I'll be talking about that in an upcoming vlog. So, but I will see you next Wednesday for story time in Grandma Shirl's bookshelf. So bye-bye, grandkids.